So this is Power Chat, where we're going to be exploring some growth frontiers. Short, high-energy power chat session. Focused on retailers' appetite for growth. It could be setting up new stores in some carefully selected locations or entering brand new markets. We'll try and cover all of those in this format. Strong urge to spread the wings further, exploring the all-important next growth frontiers. To take us there, please welcome up onto stage your moderator for this session, popular journalist, and of course, moderator here in the region, the founder and managing editor of Digital Inc. Media. Please welcome Rachel MacArthur.
Hey guys, how are you? How are you all doing? Are you a little sleepy after lunch? Little. All right, since it's a power chat, the first thing I'm going to ask is I'm going to ask for a bit of high energy, because it's really intimidating being here on my own. And yeah, I just want to see like kind of wake up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is, it's very cliche, I know. Can I ask you to stand up for a sec? All right. Perfect. Thank you so much for following and going along with it. And afterwards, on the count of 3, I just want you to give the biggest cheer you've ever done. Just imagine Metallica, Taylor Swift, whoever's on stage. So everyone else in this building can know what a kick-ass event this is, okay? So on the count of 3, 3, 2, 1. Woo! Oh, come on, guys. All right. I appreciate the energy. Thank you so much. I know after lunch, yep, again, I always feel kind of a bit. But we have got some amazing people. You guys can sit now. Thank you for going along and playing along with it. So yeah, so we have got an amazing power chat happening. And honestly, it's not really about me. But hi, I'm Rachel. I'm a journalist based here in Dubai. Love Middle Eastern entrepreneurship, love startups, love people creating change. Love Islamic economy industries. So anyway, if you have an interesting story to tell, or anything, just hit me up later. But in the meantime, as Tom rightfully described, we are talking about exploring the growth frontiers. And as someone in media and interviewing a lot of these people, I tend to get the vibe that, especially with startups, they're not really keen to expand given the current climate. You look at regions, for example, the UK, Brexit, yay. What the hell's going to happen there? So a lot of people are kind of hesitant to expand at the moment. But I'm hearing that the lovely guests that we have coming up are not really scared of that. So they're going to be our inspiration for today. So without further ado, if you please join me in welcoming the following guests. So first up, we have Mr. George Kunnappally, who is the Managing Director of Nando's UAE. Hi, George. We've got the amazing Mouna Abbassy, who's the founder of IZIL Beauty. Where's Mouna? There you are. Hello. Look her brand up. Local brands, homegrown, really, really cool. Not to take away from Nando's. I love a good Nando's. And then we have Patrick Dorais. Which one is it? Dorais. Who is the director of sales for Nassma chocolates. Yummy camel milk chocolate. We've also got Sajan Alex, who's the VP GCC for Tablez. Hello. And finally, last but not least, we've got Shamin Amin, who's the head of business development for Landmark Leisure. Welcome, guys. Oh, it's all very polite and formal. I'm going to ask to sit on the end so I can see all of your lovely faces. So let's check. I think the mics should be working, and you've all got mics with you. So check. 1, 2, 3. All good. All right. So guys, who wants to go first? If you could give me your elevator pitch, please, which means describing your company to those who don't know about it in one sentence or a couple of sentences. Tell me about yourselves. So who wants to go first? Go on, Mouna.
Throw you under the bus.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Mouna. I'm from Morocco. I've been here in the UAE for the past 15 years, and we started the journey of IZIL Beauty, which is a Moroccan a natural brand 6 years back, and we started it through Facebook, and currently we are the leader Moroccan brand in the region, having the point of sale in Dubai Mall, our own store, and doing the e-commerce across the world, mainly the GCC.
Perfect. I like what you did about we started on Facebook, given the connection. I like that. I like that. Right, who's going to go next? Patrick, I see, is raring to go.
So I'm Patrick Dorais. I'm a traveling salesman. I sell chocolate for a living. And basically, I bring joy to people around the world. I work for Nassma. We make camel milk chocolate. We're the first and only ones to make chocolate from camel's milk. And I'm looking forward to questions and talking more about that shortly.
Perfect. So you're a very good friend to have at Christmas and festive periods.
Go next.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Shamin Amin. I head business development for Landmark Leisure, which is all the entertainment brands under Landmark Leisure, including one disruptive new model called Jumble. This is all under the purview of Landmark Group.
Amazing. Who's next? Who's going to go?
Hi, I'm Sajan Alex. I manage a business called Tablez Food Company. It's an entity within the Lulu Group, actually, and we started in 2011. We are a multi-brand restaurant operator in UAE. And we tested the waters in India with our restaurant brands, and it worked, and then we got into retail, and now the business is spread between UAE and India. In India, we do food and retail, I mean toys and fashion and various other things, but UAE is very much focused on restaurant operation.
Hi, we have been setting the eating experience on fire since 1987 globally and in the UAE for more than 1.5 decades. And if there's anything we love more than peri peri, it's celebrating each and every one of you in our restaurants. We have 21 restaurants across the UAE, and I'm really happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, welcome. Just a quick question. Is sound okay? All the mics okay? Perfect. All right, awesome. So to kick things off, as I mentioned in my introduction, it has been a seemingly difficult year for retail. So I'm curious to know what has been the highest points of your brand's journey this year so far? Has there been one?
Yeah, definitely it was a tough journey from a retail point of view. However, again, it depends on what kind of base you're going from. So I would speak specifically for IZIL Beauty. Our base was still small, and there was still room to grow. So for us, it was a double-digit growth this year, while the retail market was down. And the key for that is that we were not really relying on the footfall and relying on the customer to come to us, but we were going to the customers, again, through the social media, and that's what drove the traffic and the brand awareness to increase, and hence we were witnessing the double-digit growth for the past 2 years. So yeah, I think there is. I think it would depend on the brand state, on life cycle of the brand, and it would depend as well on the fact of what we are doing. Like most of the brands would cut off the budget in these tough times, but for us, we were investing more and more, and it just gave the good results we were expecting.
Nice. Now, one of the things that stands out about your brand is that you set up at Dubai Mall, which is something that's very intimidating for a lot of smaller businesses to kind of take that leap and go into malls. How has that kind of worked out for you versus the high rents of the location?
It was a very long journey. It's not something that came up easily. So we started back in 2012. We started again through some exhibitions and Facebook, and we saw that there was a good demand. And what we did is that we believed in the brand. We believed that there was a brand differentiation, an offering for the markets and for the malls. So we made sure to have an appealing, brand proposition and brand approach to the different mall managements. There was no people who know someone who got us a space at all since, I mean, till today. We are one single shop while you have the big retailers or the big groups who are basically negotiating in bulk with malls, like the big distributors. We were just, you know, like fighting, and we never gave up. So the first mall who gave us the chance was Dubai Festival City. And of course, you won't expect the big malls to give you the chance first. So it's like a chicken and the egg story. So you've got to lower your expectations at the beginning, do with whatever you get. So we got some other malls, and even in those, you know, like not tier A malls, we were getting like not necessarily good space or good area. And for us, it was just putting our feet there first and then proving the concept. And this is how we started it. So we took whatever was given to us. We went there, we proved the concept. We opened in different malls. Some of them were not successful as we wanted. And then 2 years down the line, when we started, then Dubai Mall came in. And again, Dubai Mall was not like a major or a high traffic area that they gave us. Basically, they will give us something that others have refused. And we took the challenge, and that area actually none of the retailers who were there survived more than 6 months. For us, we've been there now for 3 years, and it's doing extremely well for us. And that just gives, again, the faith to the mall management when they see your numbers, when they see that you are not giving up, that you are here to build a brand and not to do sales and not to just sell product. And yeah, so it's a matter of collaboration, which needs to be there ongoing, and you just don't give up, and you believe in what you're doing, and keep fighting. You will fight.
Amazing, mashallah. Well done on 3 years in this climate. Well done. I'm going to jump to Landmark because, you know, obviously I'm going to assume that Landmark doesn't have problems with visibility and whatnot. So what has been your highlights this year?
Well, the India entry was the highlight. The Landmark Leisure team in Dubai has been P&L responsible for the business since April 2017. The strategic direction by the stakeholder has resulted in business growth in the last 2.5 years from 90 crore to 192 crore, from 18 stores to 27 stores, and another 5 in the pipeline to be delivered mid-next year. So the growth story has been quite amazing. But most importantly, the EBITDA levels have constantly been improving year on year, which means greater scale with more profitability. Music to the ears of any stakeholder. So our growth strategy in India was to focus on all financially feasible opportunities in the tier 1 and the metro cities before moving on to tier 2. Another strategic direction was to establish, enhance, fortify business relationships with all the leading developers in India to ensure that we continue to be the #1 choice for the developers. This ensures that we gain all market share.
When you're expanding, how do you kind of strike that balance between two geographies, so to speak? I mean, how do you focus on expansion in one territory, but also, you know, be careful of not neglecting other territories that you're already established in?
Good question, actually. Striking a balance between expanding into new territories as well as maintaining a financial feasible growth in the existing territories is never an easy job. However, if you're clear about the strategic direction that you want to move into in these markets, there's more opportunities of greater scale with greater success. For us, in Africa, we clearly want to move in through the franchise model. We are currently evaluating different partners, companies with the right attitude, aptitude, and equity to scale. So that's it.
Awesome. So John, I believe that you guys have a strategy to expand across other territories as well. What factors have you, or actually what factors what do you evaluate actually before signing up somewhere?
Okay, so I mean, I guess you're mentioning India. That's where we do. But I mean, I actually wanted to keep a bit on UAE itself. But since your question is on India, I would just answer that. So the motivation to do anything there in India is obviously anything that, because of the middle class household, which is substantial in size, which is expanding in size. Probably India will have the largest mid-market middle class household in the world in next 2 decades. India will have the highest childbirth rate in the world in next 2 decades. Now most families are, is called DISC, which is double income and single kids, which was not the case 20 years back. It was single income and too many kids. So double income and single, it actually went to DINGs, double income and no kids, and then it went to double income and single kids. So this double income really enabled a lot of families to afford or look for better experience and better product and start looking for global brands and so on and so forth. It was never there. The tribe that broke that pattern was obviously the the marketplaces, which is Amazon and Flipkart and so on and so forth. So therefore, there has been a huge space in the physical retail, and everybody was looking for better experience and better brands and global names. So that actually gave us the indication that anything that can resonate with this 50%, what we call it, SECB category, would work really well. So when we look for a brand, that we actually will look for something that we can scale pan-India, tier 1, tier 2, and probably tier 3 cities, and also could work very well in a marketplace space. It should be able to go into SIS models, not just the EBOs and SIS. I mean, every sales funnel, every distribution funnel, that's what we look for. We obviously look for where is the least amount of competition. So one of the brands that we've done is Toys R Us. So because there's only one other player in the country, which is Hamleys, and obviously it's a 200 million or 225. I mean, I think India has the lowest toy consumption in the world as we speak. It's about $4 annual, while it's in US it's about $55. In Japan it's about much higher than that. So the $4 could get to 25 and 30 and 35 in next 20 years. And there's just single competition, which is Hamley. So it was no-brainer to have a Toys R Us franchise rights. We see a lot of activities happening in the sporting arena, the cricket being cricket and the Indian Super Soccer League and so on and so forth. So again, there's only one other organized player, which is Decathlon, is focused on private labels. So we said, okay, let's have a branded player. So we went in for Go Sports. Likewise, we saw a great opportunity in the dollar retailing, so we took Yo-Yo-So. So there's about 12, 15 brands in pipeline. Some are active, some are yet to open. We saw great opportunity in the food and in the ice cream space, because it's 365 days conducive weather, it's tropical. You can eat ice cream any day, anytime, and we love sweet. I mean, we all have sweet tooths. So obviously Cold Stone was a natural choice. We believe it would be a 500 store plus market. We are at about 50 right now. We're doing probably about 20, 25 a year every year, the growth rate going to be. I know it's slow, but that's the pace we can do. I mean, there's not enough retail space supply right now. It's actually tough. So that's India. And sorry, your question on highlights of 2019 for over here. It has been a challenging year. Being relevant was very important. So obviously we saw volume growth, we saw transaction growth, but we really saw declining values of value of transaction, which is obviously deep discounting, and discounting was the norm in 2019. But what we also did is we actually expanded our sales funnels. I mean, the home delivery was a default choice, but we also went into virtual brands. We doubled our distribution capability with existing assets. Basically, we We plugged in an additional concept into every operating kitchen, which is obviously in the virtual space, which played in the value space because most of our operations are in the casual dining space, which is about $25, $30 transaction size. While we saw there's a huge growth in this $8 to $9 transaction space, and we couldn't devalue our brand, so we put in virtual brands into this concept and operated with the aggregators. We've gone into the cloud kitchen space too, and obviously we created our own app. So we just have a small little app community who gets better deal if you're on that. It's because this value has been the biggest driver in 2019. So we're just trying to be very relevant for the time, because what we see is that the quantity demanded has not been shifting to the right, I would say, the demand curve, while the supply has been shifting to the right. I mean, there is no stoppage of supply. I mean, if you really look at it, as about 5 or 6 super regional sized malls are waiting to be operating in the next 2 years. Consider the supply that is going to come in there, and the population being so stagnant for the last couple of years, the supply side dynamics is still very strong, while the demand has been diminishing, or I wouldn't even say static. It's really challenging. So we are fighting a silent cause, saying, okay, when does the equilibrium really going to happen? So unfortunately, over here, we do not have industry forums to really talk about, how do we balance? And I saw
apart from this one, obviously.
Sorry?
Apart from this one.
Yeah, and I saw on the contrary in India, obviously, the aggregators were trying to play hardball, and the restaurant association just logged out of the platforms, and the aggregators really had to budge. While we can't do things like that, everybody knows there is a problem, but then everybody wants to be getting that one additional customer at the cost of margins, at the cost of whatever it is. So it's very challenging. We believe a shakeup would happen. Ultimately, equilibrium has to be achieved, and demand supply would play out. We do not know how far is that. So until then, yeah, I mean, trying to stay relevant.
Rachel, can I pitch in?
Sure,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So the last 3 months, business performance for us has actually been quite good. I do see a shift change, for sure. When I look at Kuwait numbers coming up, and I speak to other retailers, they're also doing quite well. Kuwait has actually shifted. The roadworks in Qatar are now almost complete, and business in some of our stores have actually picked up. It is only Oman which is actually going down, but Bahrain, Saudi, and the UAE have been quite stable. There is a shift happening, and I do hope that this is the trend change. At least we are plateauing out, that's for sure. I know LMG budgets have been hit and have been doing extremely well in this quarter. I'm talking about just this quarter. So there is a shift of change. And let's hope that everyone shares the same sentiment as well.
I guess this is
Yeah, sorry. I was just wondering, actually, does everyone share that same sentiment that the past 3 months?
And I'm
have
talking
have
pure numbers.
Yeah, no, but like past 3 months, for example, how has it been for you guys in the UAE? If it's been good, raise your hand. No, not very positive.
Just do.
That's the spirit.
I think we tell a different story because, if I may, from Al Nassma, we're only 10 years old. So if you consider that some chocolate brands have been around, like Lindt since 1845 and Kais since 1819, to come out in 10 years ago, well, exactly 11, 2008, in October 2008, does anybody remember what happened then? It was the crash of Lehman Brothers and the start of a big depression, a big recession. I don't think anybody had camel milk chocolate on their minds at the time. And we certainly didn't ask any consumers either. But Dubai Duty Free, I think Ramesh has left now, but Dubai Duty Free believed in us and allowed us to start. And so a special thanks to them. And we tell a story because we have a unique product. It's made from camel milk chocolates. It's inherent from the region. It's a gifting item. We always look north, not south. So we go for the most expensive vanilla, the most expensive cocoa, the most expensive packaging. And I guess Dubai, or DXB, gave us a platform with, at the time, 10 years ago, maybe 75 million passengers passing through the airport. Today, 90 million. Probably buying the chocolate more as a novelty. You know, they're flying through in transit from Melbourne to Mumbai, and they see camel milk chocolate. They try it, they buy it, they get home, and then they realize it's a very good chocolate. And I'm kicking myself now that I didn't bring any for the audience. But we're proud of our chocolate, and we're proud that we, in a country where it's 50 degrees outside, or I prefer to say 122 Fahrenheit, it sounds better, that we're able to produce a temperature-sensitive item like chocolate and ship it. We are today now from Sydney to San Diego distributed. So we're in 18 airports worldwide, we're in 15 countries, and we're selling a product made from Dubai. And I think if Stevie's still in the room with her camel soaps, she's I think in 10 different countries. But I'm hard-pressed to think of any other examples of products representing Dubai exporting worldwide. And we're in Morocco, for example. We're in Agadir, Casablanca, and Marrakesh in the airports. So duty-free is our big platform. Duty-free or specialty retail, like Galerie Gourmand in Paris, like the KaDeWe in Berlin, these kinds of shops. I love going to Morocco. We can have a separate discussion about that. And this is, I guess, how we managed to get out of the doldrums here and all this negative talk here, because we're a global brand targeting travelers. And there will always be more and more travel. There's 6 billion international travelers a year, and there'll always be more. It's growing, and that really helps us.
What actually, I'm curious to know, I mean, you've said 10 years. We're much more health conscious now, and we're looking at, lactose-free options and whatnot. So comparing from when you first launched to now, what is it that's attracting new consumers to the brand in maybe the past couple of years?
Thank you for that question. Let me think about it for 5 seconds. Okay. So Nassma will always be about the camel milk chocolate. And camel milk, you should know, is very expensive. It's very rare. We've got a farm. We're blessed to have a farm with 7,500 camel ladies, and that's where we get our milk. We have no competitors today because you'd have to find a farm with 7,501 camels to start competing with us. So good luck with that. But on the health aspect, indeed, so we are here today, and we'd love to meet the people from Lulu and Enoch and whatever, Circle K and all the other name badges I read, because we have a mass distribution product here, Samha, meaning beautiful, bountiful in Arabic, and it's basically, it's a date stuffed with pistachios and enrobed in camel milk chocolate. So it's very delicious. It's very much in the trends of health and wellness, and it's a good snack. You can eat 2 or 3 dates for lunch, and you don't eat, you're good until dinner. But it's very healthy. And if you look at our ingredient list, and I know you can't read, I'm doing this on purpose, but if you look on the ingredient list, it's very short. There's only five ingredients, and you can actually pronounce, and you can probably spell them too, which is something quite rare nowadays.
Do we have a retail price for that as yet, or TBC?
We're looking at about 25 dirhams for 150 grams, about 12, 13 dates. And again, I'll repeat it one more time. I'm looking forward to getting attacked by retailers on the way off the stage.
Contact Patrick. But it's really interesting, actually, that move, because you see a lot of the luxury chocolate brands now going into that space because they've realized it's not all about exclusivity anymore. Yes, if you want the exclusive, super expensive product, there's Harrods and whatnot. But you need to be able to go into Tesco's or Troy Thrims or Spinneys or Waitrose and actually find something that's within somebody like my budget,
And I don't want to monopolize the stage here, but I do have to say, apart from being halal, we have no nasties in the recipes. We don't use vegetable fat. We don't use palm oils. We don't use anything like that. We use real vanilla, $630 a kilo nowadays. We take a different approach. Most companies are looking at cutting costs as much as possible. So that's why they use vegetable fat. That's why some companies are selling these chocolate dates. They're not even chocolate. If you read the ingredient list, it's compound. It's basically palm oil with sprinkles of cocoa powder in it. It's awful stuff. I mean, you can eat it now. It's cheap. It doesn't melt. But let's see, what your health balance is in 20 years down the road.
So you would say health conscious, that's who you're ultimately going for? Okay.
And indulgence.
And?
Indulgence.
Yeah,
and
of course,
indulgent,
yeah,
healthy snack.
Yeah. Okay, so from dessert to a main course, Nando's. Now, I remember back in the day, back at uni, Nando's was standalone. We'd go there with friends, we'd hang out. It wasn't in malls. It wasn't in areas near to food courts and whatnot. But that's obviously that's shifted and that's changing. And I'm assuming it's changing, with our change in consumer habits anyway. So how has that going? How has that been going? Sorry, the shift, going into some of the most prominent locations like Dubai Mall and Festival City?
See, this year has been interesting for us. We are opening in Dubai Mall in a few weeks from now. We are opening in the lower ground next to Carluccio's, facing the fountain and the Burj. Now, and we are also opening in the Mall of the Emirates towards the end of the year. Now, is that a game changer for the brand? Definitely. But has it been a change of strategy? Not really. We have always had a combination of high street locations, community centers, and shopping malls. And we're basically trying to be close to the consumers, and each location is finalized based on the primary trade area and the economic sensibility behind the commercial terms. But we are excited about being in one of the world's best brands as an iconic brand. We are actually going back into Dubai Mall after a few years. We had a food court unit in the lower ground, which we operated for some time, and then we felt as a brand we need to be a casual diner than a food court operation. Mall of the Emirates, we are between Butcher Shop and Grill and Chili's. We are opening the end of the year, end of December. And we continue to evaluate a combination of locations. It's not a change in strategy, but we are really excited about this opportunity that has come our way, and we are thankful to the landlords for the kind of deal structuring that they have offered us.
George, I have an idea for you. Why don't I give you a good price on bulk, individually wrapped chocolate-coated dates, and you can give them with every diner when they get their bill.
Not a bad idea. See, I have to agree that as we have been in this market for like 1.5 decades, and when you are in a market as an iconic brand for a pretty long time, your customers tend to expect consistency, and so while we do chicken extremely well, flame grilled peri-peri chicken is our forte. We are constantly looking at what can go better with that main course. So in that context, we are always open to ideas, including camel milk chocolates, yeah.
Coming soon to Nando.
From traveling salesman to sitting salesman right away, eh?
See, I got to pay kudos to the Middle East Retail Forum, because I feel that the team couldn't be better. If you want, homegrown tips, you got Mouna. If you want, bigger brands and what they're doing, we've got these gentlemen here. If you want pitching tips, Patrick is your man. And you guys have some great insights. Now, obviously, we're here only for a very, very short amount of time, and this is going to be a taster. Obviously, if you guys have more questions or would like to discuss things in further detail, I'll come to you for one sec. But yeah, I just wanted to let you know, please do feel free to grab anyone and have a chat with them later on. But yes, let me go back to you.
I just wanted to tell, because he was giving a fairly motivating story on camel chocolate part. I mean, I have to say that he's lucky there's a very high entry barrier in camel chocolate business. While the businesses that we are in, there is no entry barrier. Anyone with $1 million can start a retail business tomorrow. So there isn't a lot of millions of camels in the world, and there's not million liters of camel milk produced. It's only here, and it's very limited in supply. It's a very high entry barrier business. So it's in a very lucky space. So we were not being negative when we were talking the market challenges. It is a real challenge, because, again, I am saying the supply side dynamics are extremely, extremely strong, while the demand side has been kind of challenging. So you're lucky you're in a very high entry barrier business.
In fact, it is because of the camel farm that we have here, which is, His Highness the Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Maktoum's camel farm, Camelicious, with the 7,500 camels. But there are millions and millions of camels, and across Somalia and across Sudan and out in outer Mongolia. And camel milk is a superfood, and it would be great if we could develop that even further and have this kind of camel farm, what we are lucky enough to have here, replicated also in Africa or in other parts of the world.
I think, sorry, if I may add something, is again, with the recession, I think what's happening is that the consumers are becoming more and more, like selective. So we know, I mean, I've been in the UAE since 2005, and it was really a bubbly, like area to be in. So we were spending, I'm a customer as well, and I'm a consumer, so we were spending without thinking or whatsoever. With the recession, I think just things are not declining, but coming back to a certain reality of how shoppers and consumers are worldwide. And what happened is that, as I said, the consumers are becoming more and more picky and more choosy and more selective on where they are spending. And hence, the brand and the products which are there would depend on how they are fighting for that customer and what's their kind of position and what's their offering. So if you are unique, then you have higher chance and of surviving in this kind of period. When you are more generic brands, then it's becoming tougher, definitely, to fight during this period. So it goes back to the brand and the product that you are offering.
So I'm very conscious of time because I don't want to go massively over. With a couple of minutes to go, Tom, are there any questions from the audience or via Twitter or via the app or anything? Anyone? And in the meantime, I'm going to ask whilst we have a look around. Looking ahead very, very, very quickly, is there an aspirational location or region that you'd like to see your brand? And I'm just going to go from Patrick and come down.
Thank you for that. I mentioned before, Dubai Airport has 90 million passengers a year, and every airport has a car park. Every airport has a duty-free. Every airport has a hotel, F&B, a pharmacy, whatever else. But what no airport has, and what would be really great in Dubai, would be if we can have a chocolate factory inside the airport. Could you imagine one of the concourses, and you're in transit, you can watch chocolate being made, you can watch your chocolate being made. I hope Ramesh is still around. I'd like to talk to him about that.
I'd go. I'd catch my flight early so I can play around.
Definitely, we'd like to be on the air side of the airport, but provided Dubai and Abu Dhabi airport allows to use gas, you can't do flame grilled peri-peri chicken with electricity alone. We'd like to be in, we are going to be in Dubai Hills Mall, so that's something we are looking forward to. We'd like to be in Dubai Design District, the IFC, yeah. We still believe there are opportunities in this market where Nando's would do well, whether they are community centers or prime real estate, and we are fully focused on exploring and taking advantage of the current market opportunities.
Mouna?
So for us, it's just a start. So basically, the next big thing would be in Dubai Mall itself, in upgrading the concept. The retail, the travel retail, that's something which we are aiming to. And then I would say as a third phase is the Asian markets.
Interesting. Sajan, I'm looking, by the way, if you do have a question as well on Twitter or for this or any other session, please do tweet us at #MRF2019.
Yeah, hi. So we will kind of focus on UAE and India, and then the next frontier we would explore is the wider GCC. But otherwise, our focus is going to be UAE and India for now.
And last but not least, Shamin.
India. What a fantastic market to be in. We continue to expand aggressively. And what is more important is, unlike the GCC business, where the major developers have their own entertainment, in India, the big developers are looking to seek towards international brands, and that's why we come in. So, fantastic opportunity in the best malls that are available in India, and franchise in the African market.
Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, best of luck with your new plans, the plans in 2020. 2020 is going to be an exciting year anyway in this region. And thank you so much for being with us. Again, like I said, this is just a taster, so if you want to find out more, feel free to grab any one of our guests and have a chat with them later on. So please join me in thanking our lovely guests today, who have become fast friends, I think, and there's going to be some business happening between them later on. So first of all, we've got Patrick Dorais, Director of Sales at Nassma Chocolate, who is launching somehow very soon, look out for it, at a supermarket near you. wait for my commission. Mouna Abbassy, founder of IZIL Beauty. IZIL Beauty. I keep on saying IZIL. IZIL Beauty, which is an amazing product. Please do look out for it. We got, Nando's. We got George Kunnappally, I'm losing my will to speak, the MD of Nando's in the UAE. I do apologize, George. Sajan Alex, Vice President GCC of Tablez, and Shamin Amin, the Head of Business Development at Landmark Leisure. Thank you, guys. Sorry? Thank you guys so much for being with us, and thank you guys for welcoming us, and thank you to RetailNEXT for having me for this session. So